Hey friends, Sleepy here. Welcome to another episode of the weekly playlist. I've got some new games to share with you guys that I've been playing during the week. I decided to take a small break from playing Destiny of an Emperor 2 and new Ghostbusters 2 on the NES. I've been consistently playing both of those games for several weeks now, and I wanted to just put those down and play some new games I have not played yet. And I also have one, though, that I have been playing with my buddy Grant. But I'd like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the games I share with you today. And if you guys have any suggestions on games you think I should play, let me know, because I like hearing your guys' suggestions on games to try out. Always looking for new games to try, because I have not played all of them, of course. And there's a lot in my collection I have not played. And you guys have recommended some great games. I do have a little list on my phone of games to keep an eye out for while I'm out game hunting. And let me know what games you guys have been playing this past week. Love to hear from you guys. So, we'll get started here with the first game that I played with my buddy Grant, and it's on the Nintendo 64, and it is Donkey Kong 64. So we have been working on this game for most of the year. Now my buddy Grant's only able to make it out occasionally on Monday nights, because that's his night off. And when he does, we have a retro gaming night, which I love playing these old classic games that him and I both grew up with. And this is one that we are looking forward to 100% beating, getting all the collectibles and secrets in this game, and actually finally beat it, because I have played this game many times since it was released as a kid, but I have actually never beat it. I probably played through it 6 or 7 different times, kept starting over, but I never fully beat it, and I had never 100% of the game getting all the collectibles. So that's what we're working on doing, because we finally, we beat Donkey Kong Country 1, we beat Donkey Kong Country 2, and Donkey Kong Country 3. Then we started working on Donkey Kong 64, and after that we'll move on to Donkey Kong Country Returns on the Wii, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on the Wii U. We want to beat all the Donkey Kong titles. But he's having a lot of fun with Donkey Kong 64, and so am I. It's a really good game, and it's the first time Donkey Kong got into 3D, and they've never released another Donkey Kong game that's in 3D. They went back to the 2D style ones, which is such a shame. I would have really liked to have seen a new 3D Donkey Kong adventure. But this is a really fun game. Highly recommend checking it out. You have 5 different Kongs in this game to play as. So you have Donkey Kong, and then you have Diddy Kong. You also have a new Kong, which is Lanky Kong. He's an orangutan. You also have Chunky Kong, which is a big giant gorilla, super strong Kong, really cool dude. And then you also have a real small Kong called Tiny Kong, which is, I believe, Dixie Kong's little sister or cousin or something. They're related. And so you have all 5 different Kongs. They all control differently, and they all have different weapons. They all have different powers and abilities, which help you through the game. And then each world, you have different objectives and different collectibles to get with all 5 Kongs. So you actually have to go through with all 5 Kongs through every level to get all of the golden bananas, which are the main bananas in the game, and there are 200 total, and we currently have 67 of 200. We have unlocked all of the Kongs, because you only start off with Donkey Kong, and then you have to rescue the other 4 Kongs, and once they're unlocked, you can go back to older levels and get their collectibles and solve puzzles and stuff. But it's a really fun game in 3D. Now, I do have to warn, there is some annoying parts to this game. The camera at times can be a little wonky and can be a little annoying, and sometimes your depth perception can be off. I was recently playing as Diddy Kong, and I had his jetpack, and we freed a bird, and then the bird wanted you to follow him around the little island, and after a few seconds of him flying, then he let a ring off, and you had to fly through it, and sometimes there are different heights and different levels, and I swear sometimes, that we would get through that ring, but we would miss it, and then the camera kind of would get a little annoying to get set up, and you'd back up and move up to get through it, and before you know it, you end up failing because you didn't do it fast enough. I had to do it over and over and over again. We did finally get it, but that was one thing that was a little annoying about it, is the camera angles and the controls sometimes get a little annoying. But overall, it is a really fun game. There are some very difficult platforming and difficult sections in this adventure. I've had some trouble with some of the golden bananas. There's one with Tiny Kong where you have to race a beetle on his back, but you also have to collect like so many bananas or coins on the way down and beat him, and we have not been able to beat that yet. The part's been really difficult. So there are some cryptic platforming parts in this game, but overall it's a really fun title that I would highly recommend you guys check out if you've never played Donkey Kong 64. You know, if you're used to playing the Donkey Kong Country 2D games, you know, it's a big change when you get into 3D. You know, the world controls differently. It's a little bit more difficult, but it is a really fun and rewarding experience. Definitely recommend you guys get Donkey Kong 64. Very cool title. Next up, I have a Famicom title here that I've been playing, and this was only released on the Famicom. We did not get this here in the US, and that is The Glory of Herakles 2. So this is actually a sequel to the first one on the Famicom, which I heard that the second one's much better than the first one, so I figured I'd check out the second one. And now, since this was only released in Japan on the Famicom, you know, there are no English versions of this. However, I was able to get this English translated Famicom copy of Glory of Herakles 2 from that same seller on eBay who had the English translated version of Destiny of Emperor 2, which is awesome, and it only cost me $20 shipped, so I was happy to get that. You know, you can get this ROM online, English translated, and play through it, and it is a fun RPG. I had not played through any of the Glory of Herakles series. I know there's 2 on Famicom, there's some on the Super Nintendo, and then they have one on the DS. Now I know there's a English version of the DS version of Glory of Herakles, which I actually own, but I never played it before. And I was just looking for some new RPGs to check out, and you know, I saw some gameplay videos and read some reviews on it, and people said that it was a fun little RPG to try out, so I figured I'd get it and try it, and I'm enjoying it so far. Do have to warn you though, if you're playing it, that the early stages of the game can be very difficult because you only have one character, and you know, you start off at level 1 and you're really weak, and the enemies are pretty strong, so you do have to do a little bit of grinding, play a few battles, go back home and heal, go out, battle, back to the town and heal and stuff. But it is a fun game. You know, there's a nice variety of enemies. There's so far I've run into tree bosses, I've run into spiders, frogs, slugs, condors, scorpions, trolls, and a few other random different enemies. And you know, one thing that does really make this game difficult is sometimes you can run up to 4 enemies at once. Well, your character only gets to attack once, and each of the enemy gets to attack. So that sometimes, you know, you can get hit 4 different times. But you know, once you get through that initial thing and you start leveling up to like levels 5, 6, 7, you know, the game does become a little bit more manageable. And as you progress through the game, you will unlock other characters, which I actually have 2 characters now. I unlocked a centaur, and that is making me think of a funny moment in the game. Is I went to this one little village, and there was a kid out there, and he was talking about how there's a centaur that lives in town, but he's kind of a coward, and he cries all the time, and everybody makes fun of him. And then he says, "Yeah, he's a little pussy." Like, you know, seeing that in a Nintendo game made me laugh. I mean, obviously, you know, the people who translated it put it in there, but I mean, I don't know what the Japanese version says, but I laughed when I saw that. You know, how many times do you see an NES game call somebody a pussy? It was funny. So there are some fun little moments in the game like that I'm hoping, you know, that I'll discover other things like that through the dialogue. But overall, you know, it's a really fun game. I'm having a lot of fun with the RPG. Saving is a little strange. You know, you have to go to this like temple, and there's like a priest guy or whatever there, and you actually have to go down to a thing that says pray, and that's how you actually save your progress. You know, it took me a minute to figure out the game, like how the hell do you save and how do you heal? Well, in order to heal, you know, you could stay at a inn, so a little hotel, and you can stay there for $3 a night, and then your guy will heal from that. But you can buy medical herbs, you can buy antidotes, you know, so there's different items to get in the game too, because you can get different status effects, poison and stuff. And so far, the items that I have is health potions, so you can heal yourself, antidotes for when you get poisoned, because if you don't, just by walking, you keep taking damage, you'll eventually die. So it's important to have those. There's also an item called Wings, which actually lets you fast travel to any of the towns that you've been to previously, which is really cool. And then your characters do learn magic, and the first spell you learn is a healing spell. And then you also learn that fast travel spell, which I have not unlocked any others. And one thing that I found really interesting in this is when I unlocked that centaur guy, I was like level 11 at the time. He started off with me at only level 1. So I had to go through and grind some more for him, and I got his level to be closer to my main characters. But overall, it's a fun little RPG set in Greece, so Greek mythology, and definitely looking forward to checking out this story. And I'm going to be playing this now for the next several weeks. If you guys have ever played the Glory of Herakles series ever, let me know what you guys thought of it. It's a fun RPG that I'm definitely going to play more and let you guys know how I'm liking it as I progress further in the story and unlock more characters and get further in the story. But it's a fun game. And now the one game I've been playing a lot of, and I just picked this up, and that was New Super Mario Maker 2. And I got the version that came with a year of Nintendo Online, because it was only $10 more. It was only $70. So basically I got the online service for $10 when that is normally $20. And it is definitely worth having the online service, because if you buy this Super Mario Maker 2 and you don't have Nintendo Online, you cannot upload any courses, you cannot download any courses that were created by others, and that's one of the main aspects of this game, is playing the various levels that other people have created. That's what makes the game so fun. And if you don't have it, it just leaves the game feeling kind of empty. So you definitely need to have the online service. So if you're looking to play Super Mario Maker 2 for the Switch and you don't have online, you definitely need to get it. Or you can do what like I did and buy the copy that comes with a code for the Nintendo Online. You get a year of that. Very fun game, though. I've loved the first Super Mario Maker on the Wii U. And I had said earlier in the year, I had hoped that they'd make a Super Mario Maker 2. And when they announced it, I was so excited that they finally are making a sequel to this game. There are 5 different play styles. So the first one, have returning is the original Super Mario Brothers from NES, Super Mario Brothers 3 from NES, Super Mario World from Super Nintendo, and New Super Mario Bros. U, which was introduced on the Wii and Wii U. And then first time they added Super Mario 3D World, which was a Wii U exclusive title, which you get to play in a 2D, like a 2.5D perspective. So it's a really fun, bringing the cat powers and all those different 3D world assets to a 2D world. Really fun. Now, so far I've only built one course, and it's called Meowser's Cheap Cheap Castle, which I'll actually leave that level code if you guys want to try it out and see how it is. I'll leave the code, because every level you design, leaves a 12-digit code or something you can give to people so they can find the course and download it. I will have that in the description if you guys want to check it out. But overall, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. I'm enjoying all the different levels that people have created. And then there's also a story mode, which is the first time. So you have a new one where you have to help the Toads rebuild Princess Peach's castle through 100 different levels. And each level, introduces a different gimmick or a different play style in the game. And it actually teaches you and educates you on how the different features in the game work, with on-off switches, how the 3D world works, how coins, the timer, auto-scrolling levels, levels with rising water, lava, cars, that kind of thing. By playing through the story mode, you get a better feel of all the different mechanics and the way the game play, and the different games that you can actually create, in the game, different levels and different ways to play. And so playing through the story mode is definitely a good way to learn it. Do have a few gripes about the game, creating a level is a little bit more difficult than it was on the Wii U, because the Wii U, you had the gamepad with the stylus, it was touchscreen, and you also had the main screen. So if you want to design a level, I find it easier to play, to build them with the Nintendo Switch not docked, because if it's docked, you have to use the controller, and you have to do different buttons and stuff, and try to place stuff moving with the cursor, and it's not as precise control. So I find it easier on the Nintendo Switch uh, gamepad itself by having it not docked. However, there are still some annoyances. I use my stylus from my Wii U on it, but I still find it can be a little hard to get used to the controls on building courses for this Switch version, where I had a lot much easier time with the Wii U. But now that I've played through it more, I'm learning how to control the level building and stuff a little bit better. But that was just one little annoyance. Otherwise, it's a really fun game. Another cool feature is you can choose if you want to play as Mario, Luigi, or one of the Toads. So you don't have to just play as Mario through the different levels you can download and play online. You can actually play as the other characters, and I really like to play as Luigi, so that's who I am playing as Luigi. But there are just endless, thousands and thousands and thousands of levels for you to try out in Super Mario Maker 2. There's some really creative levels. There's some extremely crazy hard levels. There's a different troll level and stuff. I don't really like to play those kind of levels where you have to do crazy things, jumping off Koopa shells, hitting other Koopa shells, getting big, going slow. I'm not into those kind of levels, but I'm into more of like the realistic Mario levels, and there are tons of them. And this is a really fun game. I'm definitely going to be putting a lot of time into this, and it's what made me so happy that I bought a Nintendo Switch so I can enjoy great titles like Super Mario Maker 2. So we'll do our quick recap. My buddy Grant and I are continuing our adventure on Donkey Kong 64. Fun 3D game. If you've never played Donkey Kong 64 and you enjoyed the Donkey Kong Country games in 2D, definitely pick it up. It's not the best 3D game in the world, but it is definitely a fun game, so pick that up. Also talked about The Glory of Herakles 2, a Famicom RPG that I'm really having fun playing through. Definitely going to be playing this one for several weeks now so I can progress further in the story. It's set in ancient Greece time. Really fun game, definitely recommend that. And of course, Super Mario Maker 2, new game released for the Nintendo Switch. You have endless amount of levels you can play that people create, and you can create your own levels. There's also a story mode, and you got the 5 different play styles right now. Fantastic game. Highly recommend getting this. Alright guys, so those are the games I've been playing this week. I'm actually going to be going on vacation on Sunday. I just have to work 5 more days this week, and then I get to be off for an entire week and enjoy another vacation, which I'm looking forward to. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on the games I shared today, and of course if you have any suggestions of games I should play, let me know. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care, have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you guys next time.